Whoopee-I. I gotta say, we've got a really cool deep dive lined up for today.
Yeah.
And it's actually thanks to Mike Montague at Remax Charlottetown.
Awesome.
Thanks for this suggestion for the deep dive.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
So I think a lot of us, when we get off that Confederation Bridge, we have a certain routine.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
We're heading straight for Costco.
Yep, gotta stock up.
Gotta stock up. But what if I told you that just a few minutes in the opposite direction lies a town steeped in history?
Oh, right.
And that history has actually shaped the world that we live in today.
I am intrigued. Tell me more.
I'm talking about Pugwash, Nova Scotia.
Pugwash, Nova Scotia. Okay. I'm familiar with it. I've driven through it many times.
You've probably driven through it.
But I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about it.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to dive into today.
Let's do it.
So, to really understand Pugwash's place in history, we have to go back to 1957.
1957. Right.
No, picture this. It's the Cold War.
Oh, yeah.
The threat of nuclear war is looming over everyone's heads.
Right. It's a scary time.
And scientists all over the world are really grappling with the implications of their discoveries.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? They created this technology, but are now realizing just how dangerous it really is.
Yeah, terrifying realization. I can only imagine.
And this is where Pugwash comes in.
Okay.
They hosted a conference that would change the world.
Wow, a conference in Pugwash that changed the world?
Yeah.
That's incredible. All right, I'm hooked.
So what was it about this conference that made it so special?
Right.
World leaders were always meeting.
Yeah.
Trying to hash things out.
Sure. Yeah, it seems like there were always summits and conferences going on during that era.
Exactly. But this one was different.
Okay, so what set it apart?
What set it apart was that it wasn't just world leaders.
Oh, interesting.
Right. It was. This conference brought together the top scientists and intellectuals from both sides of the Iron Curtain.
So both from the West and the Soviet Union.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you had people from the U.S.,
the
Soviet Union, all these different countries coming together.
That's incredible considering the tensions at the time.
They weren't there
Yeah.
to negotiate on behalf of governments.
Oh, so this wasn't an official government thing.
This wasn't a government thing.
Wow.
This was them coming together as scientists, as thinkers, to talk about the very real dangers of nuclear war.
So they were meeting as humans first, not as representatives of their countries.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
And to have these very frank discussions completely off the record.
No official minutes or anything like that, just an open dialogue.
Just to really talk about
how
do we avoid this catastrophe.
Wow. So in the middle of all that Cold War tension, you have these individuals finding common ground in their shared humanity and this desire to prevent global catastrophe.
It's really an incredible story.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
It really is.
So these discussions, did they actually lead to anything? Or was it just a lot of talk?
That's what I'm wondering. Did these meetings have any real impact?
They did.
They did.
They really did. So one of the most significant outcomes of the Pugwash conferences was the Partial Test Ban Treaty of 1963.
The Partial Test Ban Treaty.
Yeah, okay. And that was a landmark agreement that limited nuclear testing.
So no more testing in the atmosphere.
In the atmosphere.
Underwater.
Underwater.
Right.
And in outer space.
Right.
And this treaty was directly influenced by the discussions held at Pugwash.
Wow. So this little town in Nova Scotia played a role in preventing nuclear testing. That's amazing.
Right. It's mind-blowing when you really think about it. It really shows that even a small town can have a huge impact on world events.
It's proof that change can come from anywhere.
Exactly. And the impact of Pugwash didn't stop there.
Okay, so there's more.
There's more.
Tell me more.
So these Pugwash conferences, officially called the Pugwash Conferences on Science and World Affairs.
Okay.
They actually continued for decades.
Wow, decades.
Yeah.
So they weren't just a one-time thing.
No, they weren't a one-time thing. They continued to meet and address all sorts of issues.
Like what kind of issues?
Related to arms control, disarmament, and international security.
So really trying to tackle the biggest threats facing humanity.
But most importantly, they fostered this spirit of cooperation and dialogue, proving that even when it seems like there are these huge ideological differences, communication and understanding are still possible.
That's a powerful message, especially relevant today.
I know, right? It's really inspiring to think about,
It is.
these individuals coming together to try to make the world a better place.
And they chose Pugwash, Nova Scotia as the place to do it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it really puts things in perspective, right?
It does. It makes you realize that every place has a story, and that sometimes those stories can have global implications.
It's true. You never know what impact a small town can have.
Right. It makes you wonder how the world might be different, if not for those individuals who chose to gather in that small Nova Scotian town to discuss the fate of humanity.
Hello, PEI. So the next time you're heading off the island, maybe consider a different kind of adventure. Skip that Costco run just this once.
Right.
Take a left instead of a right and spend some time in Pugwash. Walk along its shores and imagine those scientists grappling with the weight of the world, and let that history sink in.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
It's a great idea.
So let us know what you think. And hello, PEI.